We will start. Good morning, brethren. Happy Sabbath once again to all of us. And welcome to our worship service for today. And welcome also sa mga nakasubaybay sa live streaming natin sa YouTube at sa Facebook. So narito na naman tayo upang ipagdiwang ang itinakda ng Diyos sa ang kanyang Sabat. And now for our first message, let us welcome Mr.
Thank you, John. And brethren, good morning and happy Sabbath. Glad to see some faces here. By the way, the title of my message is The Fog of War, Conflict. Its prophetic significance. As we all know, on the 24th of February, 2022, Russia began the military invasion of Ukraine in a major escalation of the Russo-Ukrainian conflict that had begun in 2014 when Russia annexed Crimea. Internationally, it's considered a war of aggression. It is considered the largest military assault on a European state since World War II. The invasion has caused the largest refugee crisis in Europe since the war began, with over 3.5 million Ukrainians fleeing the country. It is my purpose today to share with you some insights and geopolitical analysis of the current happenings in the world stage culled from various sources, and also trace the origins of Russia and Ukraine in the Bible and put recent events in the context of the prophetic significance of the Russia-Ukraine war. World leaders and the media calling Russia's attack on Ukraine one of the most dangerous acts of war since World War II, with Russia possessing one of the largest militaries in the world, along with the largest stockpile of nuclear weapons. Many are wondering, is this conflict a sign of end-time Bible prophecy? Is the end near? And is this the beginning of World War III? Dan Quayle, a former U.S. Vice President, recently said that the world is of World War III. Our geopolitics experts believe we are already in World War III. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, however, said World War III will involve nukes or nuclear weapons. On the 4th of March, Russia put the entire Europe continent in danger, or the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, a military alliance at the West, is already prepared for an escalation. It has beefed up deployment in Eastern Europe. But the worst is yet to come, declared Emmanuel Macron of France after he came out of the 90-minute phone call with Vladimir Putin, who wants the entire Ukraine. Ayaw niya i-give up. What exactly will the worst look like? Will it be a large-scale European conflict or a wider armed conflict involving countries from around the world. Labrouk was right when he said World War III will involve Israel and North Korea. In total, there are about 13,000 nuclear weapons involved, more than enough to wipe out the world many times over. Russia has already put its nuclear deterrent team on alert. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov, in an interview with CNN, has said that Russia would use nuclear weapons if its existence is threatened. But with the recent mind-boggling turn of events, we cannot be sure of what lies ahead unless we understand Bible prophecy. In order to recognize Bible prophecies about the is threatened Asian people, we need to understand who they are and where they came from. Many Bible scholars identify Ros, R-O-S-H, Meshach, and Tubal as peoples from northern Russia. A large portion of modern-day Russians descend of Meshach and Tubal. These two ancient nations were named after two sons of Japheth, one of Noah's three sons, in Genesis chapter 10, verses 1 to 2. And I quote, "Now this is the genealogy of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And sons were born to them after the flood. Sons of Japheth, the sons of Japheth were Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshach, and Tyras." Some scholars point out that the name of Russia's capital, Moscow, is derived from the Hebrew name Meshach. There is also evidence that some Ukrainians descend from another one of Japheth's sons, Madai, who was the father of the Medes. Remember the Medo-Persian Empire. In Genesis 10, verse 2, it is likely that many modern Russians and Ukrainians share a common ancestry. And the key players in the world stage, mentioned in Daniel 11, verses 40 to 42 and 44, namely, the king of the south, a powerful group of nations south of Jerusalem, in the Africa and Middle East region, possibly, I cannot be emphatic about it, an Islamic caliphate. The king of the north, another powerful group of nations in Europe, which we used to call as the beast power with 10 kings. And finally, the third, the kings of the east, meaning another superpower composed of countries to the east and north of Jerusalem and the Euphrates River. Iran, China, India, and Daniel 11, verses 40 to 41, New King James, explains that at the time of the end, the king of the south, possibly south of Jerusalem, in the Africa and Middle East region, possibly, I cannot be emphatic about it, an Islamic caliphate. The king of the north, another powerful group of nations in Europe, which we used to call as the beast power with 10 kings. And finally, the third, the kings of the east, meaning another superpower composed of countries to the east and north of Jerusalem and the Euphrates River. Iran, China, India, and Russia seem to fit this description. Daniel 11, verses 40 to 41, New King James, explains that at the time of the end, the king of the south, possibly the Islamic caliphate, shall attack him, and the king of the north, the beast power, shall come against him like a whirlwind. Sounds like a blitzkrieg to me. And shall enter the countries, overwhelm them, and pass through. He shall also enter the glorious land, and many countries will be overthrown. In verse 14 we read, "But news from the east and the north shall trouble him. Therefore he shall go out with great fury to destroy and annihilate many. So remember, take note that the beast power is already very powerful, and yet the news from the east and the north, these eastern hordes frighten the beast. So it must be also another powerful force to reckon with. Nuclear war will bring humanity to the brink of extinction, and Russia could play a key role along with nuclear weapons. Revelation 9 verses 16 to 19 likely describes the use of nuclear weapons or weapons of mass destruction, killing a third of mankind. With our present world population of about 8 billion, partnership will not only endure the blowback from the Ukrainian invasion, but is likely to expand. The additional sanctions placed on Russia are likely to spark greater investment by China and Russia in developing their own alternative to US-dominated financial institutions, like the Society for Worldwide Great Tribulation, such as has not been since the beginning of the world until several Russian banks were blacklisted from SWIFT in 2014 after its annexation of Crimea. A separate financial system outside the Western control could result, according to some comments, in increased participation by the so-called rogue states in global finance, which are often accustomed to conducting business on the black market, thus potentially increasing their financial resources and capabilities to finance their military adventurers, quote-unquote, in crime from these rogue states, so to speak. According to Globetrotter of the Independent Media Institute, the potential consequences, the Russian invasion of Ukraine has already instigated greater cooperation between China and Russia, a trend that will only continue. Yes, this trend could perhaps even continue up to the time of the end, as hinted by Daniel's prophecy in Daniel 11, 40 to 42 and 44. Both Beijing and Moscow are well aware of the need to work together to undermine U.S. dominance in world affairs. They see the wider global instability, Bible prophecy, without realizing it, and again without being mentioned by name in the Bible. Now, by attacking Ukraine, he is bringing about a dramatic shift in Europe. We have known for years that Germany would eventually rearm. But how would that take place? A BBC report says Germany has just witnessed a truly historic day. Chancellor Olaf Scholz only came to power in December 2021, very recent, after €1 for the German army. Mr. Scholz went on to announce drastic measures that would have been GDP, or gross domestic product, and he confirmed that Germany would be sending weapons directly to Ukraine. Thus, in effect, within a few days, Vladimir Putin has managed to do what NATO allies have spent years trying to achieve, a massive increase of military spending in Germany. The late American columnist Charles Krauthammer at the Washington Post made an astute observation of the live Fox News in the context of the Trump administration at the time, encouraging Germans and others to increase their defense spending. Mr. Krauthammer said that it sounds good on the surface for Germany to rearm, but NATO was started for two reasons: to keep Russia out and keep Germany down. He further said that the last two times Germany became a military power, it did not work well for the world and for the West. It resulted in World War I and World War II. Brethren, that is where this world is heading. It is heading to a rearmed Germany that will eventually be, by force of circumstances, become the beast power consisting of 10 kings. To recap, the prophetic significance of the Russia-Ukraine war are a resurgent Germany compelled to rearm due to the crippling sanctions of the US and its Western allies could gravitate Russia towards much closer ties with China, India, and Iran, the likely end end-time juggernaut known as the King's Province. Putin's name is definitely not mentioned in Bible prophecy. But what he's doing in Ukraine is helping to bring about conditions that we expect in Bible prophecy and perhaps speed up the turn of events. To conclude, let me ask you again, is war between Russia and Ukraine be the beginning of the end of the age? The answer is an emphatic no. Not yet. But it's laying the groundwork for things to come. How do we know? There's a sequence of events. Si Sir Mel nag-preach nito. The sequence of events that must happen first. A timeline based on what we know as in the book of Revelation as the 3 sets of 7. The 7 seals, the 7 trumpets, and the 7 bowls of God's wrath. At the moment, we are still between the 4th and 5th seal. But the wars and rumors of wars will continue. But the
Thank you, Sir Dennis Tan, for the first message. Now let us rise and we will sing our second hymn. Let us sing number 71 from our blue hymnal, The Faith of Our Fathers. Please be seated. Now,
Good morning. Happy Sabbath to everyone. Today we are going to look at one of the Bible difficulties. Two people King David knew personally. Good morning. Happy. To whom I can show kindness for Jonathan's sake. Sino si Jonathan? Son of King Saul. Now there was a servant of Saul's household named Ziba. They called him to appear before David, and the king said to him, "Are you Ziba?" "Yes," he replied. Ziba said to King David, "Your servant." Next verse, please. Now the king asked, Is there no one still left of the house of Saul to whom I can show God's kindness?" Anong kindness David wants to show God's kindness. Not an ordinary kind of kindness, but the kindness of God. Okay? Ziba answered that he is crippled in both feet. He cannot walk. Crippled siya in both feet. Okay? Where is he? The king asked. Ziba answered, he is at the house of Bakir in Lo-Debar. Lo-Debar is it's a place where poor people live. Okay? Poor people. Nandun dun lahat ng mga poor people. Okay? It's in Lo-Debar. So the king had him brought from Lo-Debar. Come, we must flee, and none of us will escape from Absalom. Okay? The Russians are coming. Okay? Ukraine mo, di ba? The Russians are coming. Alright? Absalom is coming. We must flee. None of us will escape from us. We must leave immediately, or he will move quickly to overtake us and do what? And put, they are going to destroy Mariupol. See? Zelensky did not flee. Did not flee the capital. I'll tell you a story. Night. 1 hour of documentary. Okay, I'll share this with you. Napoleon mastered 20 countries. Parang NATO siya. Napoleon encouraged 20 countries to join him to invade Russia. With the soldiers of 600,000 people against 200,000 Russians. Okay? So, Napoleon wanted to invade Russia. In 1812, June. So, King Alexander I has to make a decision. Do we fight him at the border or not? We have 200,000 armies. So, na-count siya. 600,000 sila. Tayo, 200,000 lang. So, the prices now will go up. Okay? Andre. So, sabi ni King David, let's run away. Otherwise, they will destroy the city of Jerusalem. Umalis na tayo. Was so down. Napoleon, the emperor, walang tao. Did not find anyone. Not even a single soldier of Russian. What? Where was he? He was in St. Petersburg. Ang layo na naman. And the Russian winter is approaching. Why? The temperature can go down to 30 degrees centigrade. 30 degrees centigrade. Ganong kalamig. And Napoleon and his troops were trapped inside Moscow during the Russian winter. Can you imagine? For every 12 people who went in to Russia from this group of 20 nations, 2 died in war. 1 captured as prisoner of war. 7 died because of the cold weather and diseases. Only 2 returned alive. Out of 12. So more people died because of the weather and the sickness and the lack of food, the hunger, rather than being killed in the war. That's also happened to Hitler. Hitler also sent an army to Russia in winter. So Russia is not an easy opponent, huh? But right now we have airplanes, Okay, we have airplanes now. But you still have to send ground troops if you want to go in. So that's what he did. He left everything there. So Moscow was not destroyed. Okay? Ba't tayo napunta ron? Anyway, that's why Ukraine will be wrecked. Because the battleground is in the capital of Ukraine. Yun ang battleground, kita mo. All the Russian soldiers are now surrounding the capital. Nandun si Zelensky. If kung wala si Zelensky doon, they won't even establish. Di ba election ngayon? Sa May? Di ba they are trying to campaign? Who is leading? Who is leading the presidential race? Ha? Ha? Sino yun? Bongbong Marcos. Sabi nung iba, Lenny. Si Pacquiao. May chance? Anyway, pumunta sa isang rural area, doon lahat ang Russian pupunta. Hindi doon sa capital. Like King David, diba? King David left Jerusalem. Let's go back to that verse. Maganda yung ginawa ni King David. Now, we must matter who is leading. It does not matter, or none of us will escape from Absalom. We must leave immediately, or we will move quickly to, or he will move quickly to overtake us and bring ruin upon us and put the city, the entire Jerusalem, to the sword. So he left. So, sinong iniwan niya? Let's go, 15. The king's officials answered him, siyang pipili. I'll tell you a true story. True story ito, ha? Year 2016. Okay? Donald Trump is an outsider. No political experience, no military experience, nothing. Has never been a politician. He's a real estate. Many are the plans in man's heart. A man can plan all he wants. But it is God's purpose that prevails. The will of God will stand. You want to become president? Okay, you can spend billions of money. But ayaw ng Diyos, wala kang magawa. A man can plan all he wants. Anong gusto mo? Lahat. Sige, gawin mo. But the will of God will stand. The Bible verse. Okay? One more. Isaiah 14:24. Isaiah 14:24. Isaiah chapter 14, verse 24. The Lord Almighty has sworn, surely, as I have planned. Then Mephibosheth said, okay, let's stop there. Cliffhanger. Now the lingering question is, which one, Mephibosheth or Ziba, told the truth to King David? And which one lied to him? Diba two different stories siya? Yeah? Are you with me? Two different stories, diba? Sabi niya, Mephibosheth want to come with me. Okay? Sabi ni Mephibosheth, Ziba betrayed me. Alright? Who told the truth to King David? Right? The answer to this question is not clearly provided in the Bible. Silent ang Bible doon kung who told the truth. Interestingly, we can discern the answer by comparing David's son, King Solomon. To know what happened here, we will look at a parallel account in the Bible. Similar. And from there, we will be able to find out who told the truth to King David. Okay? Are you okay? Are you okay with that? Now let's go. 1 Kings, chapter 3, verse 16. Now, two prostitutes. Okay? This is familiar, right? Let's look at this carefully. In the context of Ziba and Mephibosheth. two prostitutes came to the king and stood before him. Sino itong king? Solomon. Let's move on. This woman and I live in the same house. They are both prostitutes. Okay? They live in the same house. I had a baby while she was there with me. Alright? The first woman said, I had a baby, but she was with me. Right? The third day after my child was born, this woman also had a baby. After 3 days, may baby din siya. We were alone. There was no one there except the two of us. Kaming dalawa lang nandun. Okay? During the night, this woman's son died because she laid on him. Delikado pala kung may newborn. Kung may newborn, pwede mo siya maano? Ano? Oo. Taganan. Oo. See? That's why dangerous pala kung may newborn baby. Sino mo? Namatay. Alright? So I got up in the middle of the night and took, excuse me, at 19 ulit, 19. Okay. Because, so that this woman's son died because she laid on him. Okay, she lay on him. So, she got up in the middle of the night. The other woman took my son from my side while I was asleep. She put her by her breast and put her dead son by my breast. Exchange. Exchange tayo. You know, the other woman. Okay? So the next morning, I got up to nurse my son and he was dead. Yung mga mother, do you know kung sino anak mo? More or less, even though a day old, 2 days old, alam ano? Alam ano? Kasi mga fathers, all babies look alike, di ba? But the woman, they know, right? But the mother no. So the next morning, I got up to nurse my son, and he was dead. Nakulat siya. So when I look at him, closely in the morning light, nilabas niya, I saw that it was not the son I had born. Hindi siya anak ko. The other woman said, no, the living one, the dead one is yours. But the first one insisted, no, the dead one is yours, the living one. And so they argued before the king. Away-away sila doon sa harap ng king. Okay. So, the king said, this one says, my son is alive, and your son is dead. While the other one says, no, your son is dead and alive. Pakatiyan na lang kaya na. Okay? Para matapos na yung away. Ha? Okay. Bring me a sword, King Solomon said. So they brought a sword to the king. Okay. Then he gave an order. Cut the living child into two. Why? Hiwain natin sa gitna. Pwede dito, pwede ganyan. Okay? Half-half. Half-half kayo. Okay? Okay? Okay ba, mga mothers? Half-half? Huh? Okay. Now the woman whose son was alive was filled with compassion for her son and said to the king, please, my lord, give her the living baby. Don't kill him. One of them said, please don't kill the baby. Give her the living baby. Don't kill him. But the other one said, neither I or you shall. Okay lang yan. Okay. Then the king gave this ruling. Give the living baby to the first woman. Kill him. She is okay. Diba? So alam ni King Solomon, who is right? Let's go back to 2 Samuel 19, verse 29. Kanina uminto tayo doon, di ba? The king said to Mephibosheth, why say more? I ordered you and Ziba to divide the field. Ganun din, di ba? Cut it into two. Sino mo ang sagot ni Mephibosheth? What did Mephibosheth say to King David?
Before the closing prayer, just have some few announcements first. In few days, April na po. So, ika-apat na buwan ng taon at second quarter. And next Sabbath is already April 2. Okay, so ano pong ibig sabihin yan? This will be the last day that we will be holding the Sabbath service here in Gazebo Royal.